later on, when I was a student at Peabody, Harold Drummond asked me, long before I was ready to look for a job, he said, "Oh, well, what kind of job, what kind of thing would you like to teach in college if you go that route?" And I said, "Well, what I really would like to do is teach curriculum." He said, "Oh, well, do you realize that there are very few courses that are offered just that way? You have to be you're better off if you have some special interest in a curriculum subject to add to this other, rather than to say you just do one." Whoop! I said, "Well, that's easy. I have so much history. I'll just continue that way, and I'll work in the social studies." And he said, "Well, that's okay if you do. That's just fine." But so it was my father and Harold Drummond, these two very important individuals in my life, who helped me see that I needed to do more than one thing. And I did. Maybe I did it in ways that neither one would approve in later years. I think both of them did, but the point was that I had to think it through. And what I decided, I did not want to supervise social studies student teachers the rest of my life, and so a way to do that was to work in some other things, and kind of everything I did was useful in enabling me to both teach, to find to do research in matters that interested me and were largely within the domains of either curriculum or social studies, and my emphasis, or my claim in the emphasis, was to deal with what was going on in schools, or what might go on in schools, or what are ways of getting things underway in schools. Well, there came a time when, after I'd been vice president for AERA, and like that, I was asked to be a candidate for the presidency of ASCD, and I agreed. I'd been asked before, but and I had agreed, but a variety of things happened that I decided not to be a candidate, and sure enough, I was elected president of ASCD to take office, I believe, in 1980, I think. At any rate, during this period, there was a time when I was to be, well, there was a time, because that after my AERA experience, I was not much for being on a national office. For a host of reasons. One, being a national officer, or international officer, is the case now, is a situation in which, in a sense, you can't win for losing. That is to say, you're charged with coming up with ideas to make the organization better and all this, to do things which have not been done, to do things that have been done, but do them more prominently, or do them more so more people will benefit, and so that the emphasis of the organization will be enhanced. And for something like 4 months, I was president of both Capitol Pi and ASCD. I firmly believe in the power of individuals within a community, and it certainly doesn't mean that everybody gets along all the time, or does or sees things the same way. I remember I was, from the time I was a graduate student at Peabody, I was interested I've been interested in history, and particularly the history of the school subjects. Put another way, history of the curriculum. I think I would not be properly seen as a historian of education, but because that's much too broad for what I've been interested in, and it's away from the center of my focus. But after I was ASCD president, and I began to work with at the time is a group called the Midwest History of Education Society. It's now called the Organization of Educational Historians, and it's less a regional group than it is a national group now. I also became very active and helped organize the Society for the Study of Curriculum History, a group that continues to go, I guess, strong, and you've been its basic major domo for many years, secretary and publisher and whole. I think that my influence in these two groups has brought a lot more people into them, to their work, and it has helped me focus some of my attention on matters which have both historical interest as far as background goes, and the relationship of that background to contemporary actions in curriculum development and textbook authorship, adoption, and both formal texts within textbooks as well as that which is not said or omitted. And because it's the part of my this focus has focused the last part of my career. I think some people might think that that's the most important, and it is. I'd like to just say it is important, but I haven't forgotten all that other stuff, and I haven't neglected it, except that I'm really excited about it, doing what I'm doing now. I've spent with my older son Luke, I've spent weekends and weekends sorting through files that I have accumulated over 40 years at UT, and I refuse to throw away not just a folder or two, but file drawers of folders of all sorts of interesting materials. As much as I have gotten written, I have as much, I'm sure, that has not been written, but deserves to be written. I'll never get to it. I'll run out of time. I'll run out of energy. Whatever. I say it this way, and I don't mean to be. I just mean to be true. I'll be 85 in November. I never expected to live this long. My father died earlier. My mother lived longer. But I just never thought about. I seriously never thought about how long I might live. And I have more, and I hope somebody will raid my files and take over what I have started, and continue it and publish it. I've spent several years gathering material about English schools, the curriculum of English schools during World War II, and all those. There's been some very good work done on that area. None of them have taken the slant that I have taken in some of my work, and certainly not. There's much that I have collected that is simply it just hasn't been dealt with. I have a piece that I've wanted to do. It's a short piece. It's about
Hall?
D. Stanley Hall. What? Sorry, Mr. Hall. But anyway, when he came back from Jena, I think it was, or after taking his PhD in Germany, he was a strong. He wrote books. He was an editor of a book on the teaching of history, not the recapitulation of the race idea, but of a modern German scholarship, of using original sources and on and on. It's a short paper. I just haven't been able to get it written. Things like that. And I'm working on a project now that I hope I can finish. I'm spending more of my time on it now than anything else, when I can find the time to spend any time. And that is the story of a publisher from Richmond, Virginia, B.F. Johnson Company, which began its work in the 1880s, at the time of the rising interest in the lost cause in the South. Basically, it was upper class, white, rich people who sought the Civil War never happened. It was the war for Southern independence. And by the way, that was the name of one of the books. But but this publisher did a lot more than that. He really brought both Southern literature and many other good works in all the teaching fields, from agriculture through physics, even including the study of film in the late 1920s, that was before talkies. It was both a far-sighted publishing house and others, and it had national sales, although most of its sales were in the Old South. Well, the point, and another point that I might try to get out here is that through some of this work, I have influenced others, particularly students, to conduct their own studies and to lay out and develop programs of research which are interesting, challenging to them, and that's the way it ought to be. Leadership in this sense, Lynn, to get back to one of the things that you mentioned, is opening doors. It's kind of a silly notion in a way, but it's absolutely true. I think it's opening doors and helping other people to go through them. I can't go through them all, but I can help. I have shown others the possibilities that they can do. I'm delighted that so many have done it.